Time for another big entry in the 1990 RPG showdown. It had been almost 3 years since the original digital Devil Monogatari Megami Tensei game was released. It was a dungeon crawler based on a novel, and the sequel goes in a totally different direction. Just take a look, it's now a Dragon Quest clone. You start out in this town with a dungeon underneath it, and your first goal is to defeat the Minotaur at the end and get out into the wider world. As you're exploring the dungeon, you'll get randomly attacked by creatures, and in some cases, you can talk to them and recruit them. Generally, the human-looking ones are more responsive to you. Unfortunately, it's always a bit difficult for me to get into RPGs while recording. I just don't have enough time. So the only demon I successfully recruited was Pixie, who's inevitably the first demon you recruit in a Megami Tensei game anyways. As you explore, hitting the B button will bring up a menu, and it gives you kind of a first-person view similar to the original game. And this menu has the standard options that you'd expect, where you can use magic, items, or check your status. It's also where you can use your personal computer to manage your party. In random combats, you're initially given a choice of how you want to approach the encounter: fight, run away, or converse. And then you have most of the standard options, although the hero does have the choice to use their computer and summon additional help. Conversations can be a little bit tricky. You can offer items, try to calm them down, persuade them, or be confrontational with them. Usually you want to get the demon into a happy state, and then offer them something. But if negotiations break down, then you might have to fight. The first 2 floors of the 3-floor dungeon aren't too bad. Good places to grind up some experience and money. There's 2 kinds of cash, by the way, one for demons and one for humans. You have to spend the demon currency on demon things. While back in town you can spend the human currency on getting healed, buying equipment. Oh, here's a computer for some reason. I doubt that's important. The 3rd floor seems to have some pretty nasty enemies, and you'll want to be well prepared to deal with them. Otherwise, you'll wind up getting killed. And when you get a game over in this game, well, that's when you find out that you've been playing a video game. And I don't mean Megami Tensei II. The opening dungeon of the game is a video game, Demon Busters. The video game is a Dragon Quest clone, while Megami Tensei II's real world is played from the dungeon crawl perspective. There was a problem here for me with this, though. You have to beat the video game Demon Busters in order to continue the video game Megami Tensei II. And I just couldn't pull that off. As near as I can tell, you want to grind up for the best equipment and recruit a full party before you confront the boss. When you level up, you get to assign a point to one of your stats: health, magic, combat, speed, and luck. The hero can't use magic, so it's not worth putting any points into that for him. The actual story of the game is that following the events of the first Megami Tensei game, Tokyo was destroyed. That's the first of roughly 24 times that Tokyo gets destroyed in the Megami Tensei series. The last remaining humans live in a shelter, and you found the video game Demon Busters while going around on your everyday life. When you beat the game, you've been judged worthy by the person who created it to gain control of the demon summoning program. And from that point on, you can negotiate with the real demons, recruit them, and use them. That makes you the only person who can stop Baal, the demon that rules over the ashes of the world. Even more than the original Megami Tensei, this is the game that defines what the series will be. You have things like the first appearance of popular characters such as Jack Frost. The game splits into multiple paths at about the halfway point. And there's a secret ending. Also, this is the game that moved Atlus into being a video game publisher. Namco apparently didn't really care for the Megami Tensei games, so Atlus decided that if they wanted to keep making the series, they'd have to publish them on their own. There is one nice thing Namco did for them. Megami Tensei uses one of Namco's expansion chips to extend the sound, and in Japan it's regarded as one of the best 8-bit soundtracks. Later on, this game was repackaged and re-released on the Super Famicom on a cartridge with the original Megami Tensei game. I always feel a bit bad for the RPGs I have to cover with this format, and it's doubly worse for Megami Tensei, as my cart happens to have a dead battery. This is a game that I really want to return to, though. The first digital Devil Monogatari might be the first game in the series, but this is where Megami Tensei really begins as a franchise. It actually feels like a Megami Tensei game. That twist of a game within a game was also a bit of a surprise for me. You didn't see a whole lot of meta games in the early 90s. So this is a game that's both historically significant and plays around with the structure of the RPG quite a bit. I think this one's worth a deeper look.